Before I played Terraria, Geometry Dash was my most played game on Steam. But when I played through Terraria, I almost doubled the playtime I had on Geometry Dash. There is a lot of stuff to do in Terraria, from mining straight down to hell, to fighting a very large boss, to exploring dungeons. If you don't know already, Terraria is a two-dimensional action-adventure game, and there is quite a large amount of content in it. There are just shy of 4,000 unique items to obtain in Terraria, and I likely didn't even find 400 of them throughout my playthrough, along with 30 different bosses to fight, each dropping their own unique items and having their own unique attack patterns. You'll fight, explore, and build your way to victory, gaining support from the many NPC characters you'll encounter along your travels. Defeat all the bosses so you may defeat the final boss and restore order to your world. I'm sure there is a story to Terraria, but I don't know of it, so instead I'll go into detail about the typical way you'll progress through the game when you play. First, you'll start most likely in a forest with a man called the Guide. He will give you advice on what you should do next throughout the game. You'll build your first house, mine a couple of ores, and gear yourself up for your first boss fight, either the King Slime or the Eye of Cthulhu. Once the Eye of Cthulhu specifically is defeated, you'll gain some of your world's cursed biomes ores. After these fights, you'll make your way to either the Corruption or the Crimson, where you'll fight either the Eater of Worlds or Brain of Cthulhu respectively. After this, make your way to the edge of the world and defeat Skeletron, before tunneling all the way to Hell and facing the Wall of Flesh. After the Wall of Flesh is defeated, your world will be kicked into hard mode, causing your current cursed biome to gain new enemies and also the ability to spread to other biomes, along with another cursed biome known as the Hallow. You'll mine the new hard mode ores in your world and then face the mechanical bosses, a trio of powered up versions of bosses you've already faced: the Twins, Skeletron Prime, and the Destroyer. After these three mechanical menaces are defeated, the jungle in your world will grow restless, allowing you to fight Plantera, a deadly plant who guards the Jungle Temple. Once defeated, you can access the Jungle Temple and defeat the Golem, who will send your game into the endgame phase. From here, defeat the lunatic cultist found at the dungeon's entrance, followed by the 4 celestial pillars, each representing a class that you can play as. Once the 4th pillar is defeated, you'll have 1 minute to prepare before the final boss, the Moon Lord, shows himself. Defeat him, restore order to your world, and go back and defeat all the optional bosses if you haven't already. As I mentioned in my previous point, there are 4 different classes you can play as in Terraria. They are Melee, who specializes in close quarters combat and is represented by the Solar Pillar; Ranger, who specializes in ranged weaponry, like guns and bows and arrows, who is represented by the Vortex Pillar; Mage, who uses magic weaponry and mana, and is represented by the Nebula Pillar; and finally, the Summoner, who uses many different staffs to spawn companions to fight for them, and is represented by the Stardust Pillar. Each class has different types of armor and weapons that are specifically suited to that class. In my playthrough, I played as a ranger, so I ended up with very overpowered guns and bows like the SDMG and the Phantasm. But I also played with 2 other friends of mine who played as a melee class and a mage class, causing us to be quite the balanced team. I've mentioned the bosses in Terraria quite a few times already, so I thought I'd touch on a few of my favourite bosses. My absolute favourite boss in Terraria is Plantera. Plantera has a very unique way of fighting, as she spits spiked balls at you in her first phase. Not very intimidating, but once half her health is gone, she becomes far more menacing, gaining more speed, shedding the flower that surrounded her true form, and summoning around 8 to 10 smaller versions of herself, tethered to her main body via vines. Her fight is tough but fair, and overall is very creative too. But some of my other favourites are the Eye of Cthulhu, the classic boss of Terraria, everyone knows it, the Queen Slime, now with wings, and the Moon Lord. Very, very tough, but really fun as a final boss, especially after you beat him once and gain some very overpowered items from him. Terraria is fun on your own, but it is way more fun with friends. My first full playthrough was done with 2 friends of mine. At its core, Terraria is meant to be shared with others, be it playing with others or showing your achievement to others, which is why playing as a trio was really fun. We each had our own unique characters, bases, and goals in mind. As a result, we would operate as a team when doing big things like boss fights, but otherwise, we would just be dicking around on a Discord call while doing our own thing in-game. It was more of an experience with more than one person, as we each shared big moments, but also had times where we would be doing things alone, causing a nice balanced dynamic between team playing and objective completing. Overall, Terraria is great with more than one person, so I highly suggest discovering it with a friend if you can. Now, there has been a long-standing argument over which is better, Terraria or Minecraft. In my opinion, both games are absolutely amazing, but when compared against each other, especially in the eyes of a person who's beaten both, the argument is ridiculous. Minecraft is way more focused on exploration and creativity, especially due to it having an extra dimension over Terraria, allowing for the creation of more incredible things in Minecraft. Terraria, on the other hand, is way more focused on combat and loot, with it having 10 times the number of bosses than Minecraft, and roughly 300 unique weapons, allowing for extremely overpowered playthroughs, where you just end up dominating everything. Both games, as I said before, are absolutely incredible, but they can't really be compared against one another fairly, as they both have very different design philosophies. Overall, for the amount of content that you get in Terraria and the price that you'll pay for it, you get a lot of bang for your buck. On Steam, Terraria is only about £7, so it's absolutely worth picking up, especially when it took me around 80 hours to beat it once. Absolutely amazing. It will eat through your time like it's a sandwich. But yes, Terraria, that is my review. I hope you enjoyed it. Leave a like, comment, and subscribe if you want to. Follow me on Twitter and Instagram. And, new thing, Twitch. I'm going to start streaming the games that I'm going to review next on Twitch, so follow me so you get notified when I am live on there. But other than that, that is all for this review, and I will see you in 2 weeks. Bye bye.